Hi guys, welcome to Copacabana, Bolivia. I got here 2 nights ago. Last I talked to you, I was in Puno, or on the floating islands nearby called Uros actually. And the rest of the day when I got back was pretty chill. Actually ended up grabbing lunch with 2 Colombian ladies who were on the same boat to the islands. And then afterwards walked around the city a little bit, got to see a little bit more of Puno, some of the squares and the pedestrian street and stuff like that. And then went back to my couch surfing host's place where a bunch of us, him and his roommates and some other couch surfers, just hanging out watching movies. And then later we headed back to the French restaurant where they all work and had some more delicious food. So that was, I would definitely have to say, like the best food I've eaten in my entire trip, I would say. Definitely helps living or temporarily staying with some French chefs though. So that was the rest of the evening. The next day I headed out to come here, had a delicious French crepe before I left, and that day pretty much just consisted of the border crossing, which was pretty interesting in itself. I didn't really do too much research about the Bolivia border crossing, but I thought I might had heard at some point prior that US citizens need a visa, and I meant to look into that and then forgot to, and basically just decided to go and see what happens. So took this little bus pretty much to the border town. From there took a moto taxi to the border, which is really close, and got to immigrations, and basically they asked if I had a visa and I said no. So the guy said, okay, these are all the things you need, which basically was a photo, like information from your bank account showing how much money you have. What else? Oh, either like a flight or a hotel reservation or something for where you're staying. I'm trying to think what else. I think there was one more thing, but I can't remember. And $160, which I didn't have either. So thankfully there's this little place right there on the border that like does all the stuff for you. So I took a photo, like passport photo, basically printed out a passport, photocopy of your passport. Needed that too, so printed out all the stuff, but I needed money, and the closest ATM was back in that border town, so took a moto taxi back there, took out a bunch of money, went back to the border, and basically got my Bolivian visa. So it took a little bit of work, but anyways, luckily it all worked out in the end. From there I took another one of those little shared buses into town. And yesterday I was exploring the city, pretty much walked all over the place. So went to the main Plaza 2 de febrero. There's also the basílica, the big church across from there, which is really pretty, really different style than a lot of other churches, I would say. I would say more Incan influence. And then went to this place called Cerro Quesanini, maybe, or Pachataka. Which basically is this mountain you can climb up, and there's some ruins there, although I didn't really see too much, but it's an amazing view. So went up there, ended up walking to this Incan bath, so basically where they used to bathe, but not just bathe, I would say like purify themselves before they would actually go to that mountain where I was that I just mentioned. Maybe to do ceremonies. I don't know a lot about the history there. Anyways, went there, walked farther down, and later ended up at these little, I guess they're called floating islands, but it's more like floating restaurants. So it looked kind of similar to Uros and Puno, those floating islands. But there's like these little docks that go out, and these restaurants built on like floating pieces of wood and all this stuff. Anyways, ended up having lunch there. They're known for making fresh trout, so like in the middle of this dock thing where they have the restaurant, they have these nets with all these trout in there. So I don't usually eat a lot of fish, but again, sometimes you just have to try it where you are if that's the thing. So the lady was literally like, went in, like took a net, scooped out some fish, dumped one in a bucket, and that was my lunch that she cooked right then and there. So you can't get fresher than that. And then afterwards I pretty much walked up to this place called Sagrado de Jesús, something like that. This other mountain, which is kind of where I am now, but I'm on the bottom of it, where I think they used to do a lot of pilgrimages. There's a lot of crosses. There's tons of stairs going up, a lot of crosses all along the way. And at the top, you can see a lot of people kind of praying as they go. I think they used to do a lot of pilgrimages up there. But anyways, another amazing view of Copacabana. Pretty much what you're looking at now, but a little bit higher up. And yeah, that was pretty much yesterday, exploring the city. Oh, also stopped by these ruins called, it's like the Incan seat. Again, I don't really know what they used for there, but you could see some like kind of carvings out of the stones, and a bunch of bums, or what it looked like, just hanging out there. So yeah, they don't maintain that part too much. Yeah, that was yesterday. Today I took a tour pretty much of two islands that are near here called Isla de la Luna and Isla del Sol. So first we went to Isla de la Luna, where we saw this temple, which is like Temple of the Virgins. So they used to have these women that lived there, and they were virgins, and it's kind of funny because later the guide explained that there are like three categories of these women. The most beautiful, which were the ones that were sacrificed, and then the kind of like in between, and then the lesser beautiful ones. And the in-between ones, I think, were more known for like doing artisan stuff like that, and then the ugly ones were more in charge of agriculture, I want to say. Anyways, got to check out that temple and go higher up and check out the view, which is pretty as well. And after that we went to Isla del Sol, where we got to learn a lot more about the history. So apparently the moon is like the woman and the sun is the man, which is why the women were on Isla de la Luna. Inca also means Dios. And we learned that originally the Incas actually started on Isla del Sol. That's where they originally started from many years ago. Lake Titicaca basically like disappeared. There was no more water and they left looking for water, and that's where they ended up in Cusco, called Sacsayama, something like that, because there was an abundance of water, which is what that word pretty much means. Anyways, so it's interesting getting to learn more about that. And originally I think the guy said there were 14 Incas, and the Incas were actually the people in charge that like governed everyone. But that's how it all started. And then of course Cusco ended up being the capital of the Incas, so interesting that they originally came from Isla del Sol. Although there were originally other pre-Incan people living there. A lot of pre-Incans that are not nearly as well known, but plenty more were there before the Incans. So we got to check out this Temple of the Sun up there, learn more about the Incan calendar, and just like how much just everything revolved around like the moon, the calendar of the moon, and how much they learned from that. So yeah, explored the island a bunch, and we ended up going to, it's kind of like the Fountain of Youth, the Incan Fountain of Youth. I drank from it, it's purified water, so hopefully that'll keep me young, we'll see. And yeah, apparently it's purified water. I don't remember all the details, but you can drink it. So, and oh, there's 3 little fountains, and he said they each have a different flavor, but there are only 2 running, and I only tried one, which I didn't think tasted that great. But anyways, it's purified, so it should be okay. That's pretty much it, I feel like, as far as what I've been doing in Copacabana. Let me show you the view while I'm catching you up on what I might be doing next, because I'm still trying to figure that out. Anyways, so not totally sure where I'm going next, but I am leaving tomorrow. Isn't it an amazing view? By the way, so right there, that rock mountain, that's the other one I hiked up that has an amazing view. Pachataka. And there's all the boats down there, and then there's like a main pedestrian street there, where all the tourists hang out. Like, I literally didn't see really any tourists yesterday until I went down that street. It was crazy. So anyways, Tomorrow I'm heading out, not totally sure where yet, maybe to Sotara, which is in the mountains, possibly do some more trekking, but I don't know much about it, so I would like to know a little bit more before I head out there. And if not, maybe go straight to La Paz and possibly go to Sotara from there. I'm not sure yet. But I will catch up with you guys from somewhere in Bolivia, probably within a couple days or so. So I will talk to you soon. Bye.